Well, hello there, Chick Chatters. We are back with Teen Mom episode 3, and we're just going to get right into it. We'll start off with Ashley. Her whole thing is her mom got a job working for a cruise line. So she's now in the reality of her babysitter is going. Her husband is not her husband anymore. There's this big court case. So Ashley's really feeling the pressure of all of these things at once.
She's losing her whole support system. It seems like she's already starting to think about what she's going to do if her mom does this whole 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off for a while, but she hasn't shared that necessarily with us yet. So that's her storyline this episode. There's not a whole lot going on, but as usual, Holly takes the news. Wonderful.
Holly's the cutest. She's like, I'm gonna miss you. So I went on a cruise back in 2016 with my dad, and I was on the boat. I was like, oh, I would love to work for a cruise line. This would be awesome. So I started asking the workers about it, and they were like, no, you don't want that. It's 12-hour days. It's long-ass days. You have to work for 6 weeks straight. You don't have a single day off in those 6 weeks. Like you work 12 hours.
It's a really long and grueling work. It's in the backdrop of somewhere nice, but other than that, that's pretty much the only benefit you're really allowed.
You're not going on excursions. You're not able to actually relax. You're going to be working. They work hard, long hours. And I was talking about it with my waiter. He was like, it's long days. And a lot of them are foreign for a reason because the pay is a lot better to them. But I guess it's really not that great. So I don't know. I've heard a lot of things about working on cruise lines.
Well, it's always like pay versus the work that you're doing. And honestly, even if you're working 12-hour days, you're not working 12-hour days and then going home to your family. So compensation, I think, is probably a big deal when it comes to Americans. They want their money.
And I think it's just going to be a shell shock for her because she's used to probably her home and she's going to be in this little tiny room.
She has a small apartment.
It's still bigger than a cruise line room.
Definitely.
Especially for the workers. I don't think they have huge accommodation. So this is going to be interesting to see how she says that it went. I don't know if she's still doing it. I hope that she loves it because like she said, she's been raising kids since she was 16 years old. She just wants to do something for her. And if that's her whole goal, then that's great. I just worry about her a little bit because obviously sometimes things happen on cruise lines.
That's what Ashley was waters. On the way there. She just was telling her to be careful. And there's quite a few people on TikTok or Facebook Reels that they work on cruise lines and that's part of what they do is show the behind the scenes. So I think what I hear on there is similar to what you're talking about with this other waiter. It's definitely not easy work, but I think Ashley's mom can work hard, and I think she is just looking to get away from her current roles and responsibilities and just bake some sweets, like she said to Holly. So hopefully she's safe. Even if she hates it, she'll be back in 6 weeks, and then she'll figure something else out. But if she likes it, then looks like Ashley might have to figure something else out.
That is true.
Because she's not even going to school right now. And as far as I know, that's a lot of the reason that she's in Las Vegas.
I think the reason she's not going to school is all this stuff with Bar on top of Holly's care and all that. I think she'd rather take a little time off than have her grades suffer.
I agree with that part, but I just feel like if that's going to go on and now she's losing her support system, she's not going back to school anytime soon. So she might need to figure out a different living situation. I don't know what that would be, but maybe that.
How old is her sister? Is her sister in high school or something? She looks pretty young for her mom to be leaving for 6 weeks.
Mom did say she referred to this man and said that he's going to be there. I don't know if that's this girl's father or uncle, brother, cousin. But she did say such and such is going to be here, but you need to come and check on her a lot. There's an adult in the house with her. She's not caring for her own self. And then big sister Ashley is lurking.
Big sister mother Ashley.
She's a sister mother.
Sister mother. Actually, you don't have a picture of this, but I have the same shirt as Ashley's sister, and I'm wearing it today for you guys.
Yes.
Is y'all Ashley's sister in the background of the scene where they were putting her mom out to go? It's not Gershfarms, but it's here.
Thank
Star Wars, not Gershfarms. But if I see an outfit that I have and it's on TV and I'm covering the episode, I'm gonna wear that outfit. I wish you would wear your Robin outfits when we cover this.
I thought about it a couple of times. I actually wore it to work last week.
I need like a duplicate of that shirt now that my hair is all tragically short because of somebody hates me. But because I will curl my hair the same way and I'll wear the shirt. And then I will be like, where's the
I wear it a lot right now because of the weather, but maybe when it's warmer, I'll mail it to you and you can do a little photo shoot. And then I can wear it too, and then we'll get like a nice thumbnail of the two.
Basically, Ashley is reeling over losing her mom right now. She's just gonna, like you said, have to figure it out. Now move on to Cheyenne, Ashley's best friend. So Cheyenne has a couple things going on this episode. She thinks she might be pregnant because she saw like the faintest line that I didn't see, but you know, I guess.
Well,
Sure.
you know, Caitlin went through that before too when she saw phantom lines. She was running all over the place taking pregnancy tests. So I guess it just happens when you want to see a line.
Yeah, when you're so in it like that, like when you're so like, I need to have it, like it just stresses you out so bad. Like I feel like if she just kind of let it go, she
Yeah.
would just conceive easier. It would just come more natural. But
Well,
I
she
get it.
has other stress going on right now too. So adding the stress of really trying to get pregnant and constantly taking pregnancy tests. Wait a couple of days, every other couple of days.
She even say she's ever late? Like that thing I'm waiting to hear is if she's late or like why she's taking all these pregnancy. Is she just taking pregnancy tests? Because she said the moment she got back with Zach from said vacation, started taking a bunch of pregnancy tests. But I'm like, right before the vacation, you took a pregnancy test and it was negative. Did you even have a period in between? Like, what is this timeline that we're timelining? It's just
I mean, I'm sure she's tracking those kinds of things, but yeah, always hard to tell what the hell is really going on when it comes to these timelines on these shows. So you're right. It is confusing. I have a feeling every time we drop in, we're going to be commenting on, am I or am I not pregnant? Regardless of,
yeah. It's hard when you're in your head like that and you want to get pregnant. Like you just want to see, like you said, those lines. And it's scary when you're actually late. You do overthink it. I was 2 weeks late last month. I took 40 tests. I think I took a test every single day. I feel like it. I took a test almost every single day that I was late because I was like,
but that would be like
still late. But yeah, but no, I ended up getting it. It just was really short and stuff. My cycle's really messed up since I got off my birth control, I think. So yeah, but it does like a mental warfare kind of thing. Like we're trying and then like you're late. I feel for Cheyenne that this is just a sticky situation, and it was easier for her to get pregnant. The first time she wasn't even trying; it just happened randomly, and then. But the second one, it seemed like the same thing. Like it just kind of passed. So when
I actually just rewatched a little bit of that as well. I've been watching some of the old seasons on Pluto. And her and Zach basically just talked about wanting a baby, and then all of a sudden she was pregnant. So it happened pretty quickly.
That time I thought they were already pregnant when they had that conversation.
They probably were. Definitely possible. But she's gonna go to the doctor, she's gonna get a blood test, and ultimately she does find out that she's not pregnant. So we'll move on to the second part of her storyline.
Basically, Ryder's been having issues with her heart. I think her heart's been like racing. She feels her heart burning sometimes. And because of her diagnosis of VLCAD, they always have to do EKGs. They have to make sure her heart is good because it can affect that part of her body. And it just made me feel really bad because, you know, Corey went through this with his other daughter with the open heart surgery. It makes me wonder what's in Corey's genetics. Like, there's something in there because there
could be some kind of abnormality in that.
And I don't mean that to be mean or anything because my family, you know, the boys in my side of the family have like autism, and I don't know if that's just like a genetic link that way as well. I could just be something like that. So I'm not even saying that to be mean. I know with Ryder it's a genetic thing. So I'm wondering if with Mila it's the same thing, and maybe Corey should get genetic testing done to make sure.
Yeah. At this point, I'm not sure if Corey's going to have any more children. So
you might try for that boy. Although, I don't know, Kobe Bryant seemed to be his idol, and he had all girls, so maybe Corey's fine.
Yeah, we'll see. They did go do the EKG, and the doctor came back, which is not normal during their preventative EKGs, so they did refer her to a cardiologist. So they're going to try and figure that out. And I think while they were having this conversation, Ryder came in and complained of her heart beating really quickly, and just must be pretty scary to...
Yeah. I wonder if it's like palpitations, because sometimes I get those too, or if it's her heart's just racing because she's doing physical activity. Because it does sound like a lot of the times that she's having this issue is because she's being really physically active.
Yeah, when she's anxious, or even when she said in the back seat at the end, when she did have the thing around, said something about her heart burning for a second, and she could truly have heartburn. So I think it's being more aware of her body, especially her being more aware of her own heart condition, that probably is causing some anxiety, which might be causing a little bit more of an awareness of her body again. And I think with the limited vocabulary she has to explain it all, it's just a good idea to get all of this done and have the heart monitor on. But I'm not a doctor, but she seems pretty healthy to me. I would be surprised if we saw that something was going on beyond her just maybe overexerting herself a little bit, but not necessarily a bigger condition.
I guess you never really know, because sometimes people do seem fine on the outside. And
no, of course, you never really know, but hopefully everything works out with them.
Yeah, when everything's good for Ryder. She's such a cute little girl. She's got a lot of good support. Her parents are both over there praying over her. I've been through this with her this whole time. I've been dealing with VLCAT since she was born. That's how they even found Corey. They had to do genetic testing to find the father because it was a genetic disorder.
Corey probably does know about this condition then. I'm sure it's more than definitely genetic.
It is. Well, I know Ryder's is genetic because that's why they did all the genetic testing on her when she was about 6 months old, and they had to find the father because they knew it was a genetic thing.
Just because it's in your DNA doesn't mean that that's what's going to present.
No, that's true. My brother has autism and my sister has kids, and none of her kids have autism. It could happen with me, like a risk that I have.
Yeah.
So just because we all humans have some underlying something in our family that could pop up in any generation. So I don't know. I just feel bad for these girls because they're just so cute.
I know.
And it just hurts my heart. But I think a lot of Ryder's is anxiety, but at least I hope so. I hope that they'll just kind of, a lot of this is anxiety. They did say that she has to wear this heart monitor for the next little while to make sure that there's not any kind of abnormalities in her heart and that it's nothing to be concerned about. So I guess we're going to see where that goes. And, another baby and all that. I'm kind of glad Cheyenne's not pregnant right now because I feel like that'd be kind of stressful to deal with this on top of being newly pregnant. You really got to trust timing, I think. This might not be great timing for her, but I do think she will have a third baby. I don't think Cheyenne's done here.
Yeah. Speak it all into the universe. Let Ryder be healthy and babies be made.
She's so cute. It burned for 1 second.
She is so cute. And like we ran in and she said that her heart was beating really fast and they must have asked her what she was doing before
Corey
that.
Did.
He must
Corey's
have
like,
said,
"Were you just running around?"
Yeah, and he's like, well, that's a good thing. So I think some of it might just be her own growing awareness of what exactly is going on and
with
not
her,
being
Well, she's been hospitalized before. I'm sure she remembers some of those visits and stuff. So I think she feels like if she feels any little thing, maybe she needs to let them know because she might need to go to the hospital. Maybe she's just being really aware because she's just kind of scared of having anything bad happen to her, which makes me really sad because as a kid that young, you shouldn't be that worried about your health. But I'm just...
But at the same time, if you have a chronic health condition, you need to, as your age goes on, be really aware of that. There's children who have diabetes and like Leah's daughter, she has MS, is that?
Muscular dystrophy.
Muscular dystrophy, yeah. Just something you have to live with if you're born with these things too. So it's sad. They don't deserve this, but they do have to know about it.
One of my cousins has diabetes since he was born. I always had to get like the little prick thing and all that, and he was doing that at her age by himself. So you do become really aware of your physical health. But
sure, like your brother, then independence is so important at some point to be able to get past any of those things.
Speaking of kids and shit, we got Mackenzie.
Speaking of these kids.
Speaking of kids and shit. We got Mackenzie over here. Gannon's turning 13. Started the episode off with his birthday and everything, but then they didn't really show much of his birthday, just them picking him up from school. But it
was cute. They were in this little
golf cart.
There's a golf cart, which is so Florida.
Yeah. It's really one of the few states you can keep driving around in a golf cart all year round.
Yes, but this woman got her son a weenie pinata so that they can talk about how to keep his weenie safe.
Isn't that so
then
weird?
proceeded to not talk about how to keep his weenie safe. Yeah. I mean, I know that probably wouldn't have happened on camera, but it also sounds like based on everything that went on this episode that she has not even mentioned the word weenie other than right here with a pinata.
And that's not for a child. That's a weenie, like a bachelorette party, like weenie.
No, that's a wiener dog. A dog, I think. I don't think that's even a.
Oh, is it a wiener dog? I'm sorry, I thought it was an actual.
No, I think it was a wiener dog, like as a. What's the word?
Like, how inappropriate. Okay, this makes the scene a little bit better to me because I was like, did she really get a...
No, I think it's a little dog. And I think she said wiener dog to talk about keeping your weenie safe.
Okay, thank God.
That is funny though.
I was like, you got other kids around you too.
I know she's probably obviously making a joke here, but I think we should start using anatomically correct verbiage with our children here. But she's probably making a joke, so I'm not going to hold her to that high of a standard right now.
I'll take what you just said to heart because there's a part of me that's like, there's just a time and a place. I don't think even this joke, I mean, you're around a bunch of other kids too. Like, I think you could have just waited later, been like, hey, now that you're 13, I think we need to set aside time at one point to talk about keeping your weenie safe. Like, I think that
would have been a great way to break the ice in private.
Exactly, in private. I get it was a joke though, so I'll let it go. But especially with the contents of the rest of the episode, it just doesn't make me feel that great. But
yeah, well, it seems like Cassano is taking on a lot of the role of talking about girls with Gannon and talking about responsibility and things like that, which I get that that's probably because Gannon is going to him. I think he said something in this episode even about like Cassandra just knows everything or whatever. So
We don't.
he doesn't want to talk to his mom about that kind of stuff. I think that makes sense. But Mackenzie is so dead set on raising these specific type of men, and she needs a little bit of Leah in her, where she's just going to give the information whether these kids interact with her or not. She needs to get up on the podium a little bit, because she's just kind of giving it all lip service right now. She's just like, oh, I want my sons to be this way, but she's letting Cassandra do it all, and Cassandra is not quite hitting the mark. He's doing enough, but he's not quite there.
For Cassandra, he's not had a child yet, so he might not feel that parental. I don't know, but
yeah.
Why doesn't she just have Leah come over? You can have a whole seminar with the kids.
Honestly, Leah can come over and run a class twice a week or something, and then these kids will be in tip-top shape.
Perfect. I mean, you could even probably just get her on a Zoom call.
What a brilliant idea!
Yeah. Cass is really more of a father to her kids than Jersh. But he goes and talks to little Jersh. Little Jersh did not like the cameras in the room while talking about this. He's like, this is a weird conversation.
I really don't blame him. I mean, Cass is trying his best. He wants to talk about girls with him, and it's clear that there's a girl that he's interested in, and he's trying to help him have some idea of what to do and what to say, but also toe that parental line and be reminding him to be respectful and nice, and maybe even go as far as to have the birds and the bees conversation. But Gannon is not having it. He keeps stopping me like, this is going to be weird. Don't. He says, I think I have it. Yeah, I'm just going to the party to party.
And every time Cass would give him like a suggestion, he'd be like, well, I can't promise that, but okay. Like, don't be kissing the girls. I can't promise it, but okay.
He was real cute in his little dance attire.
He originally wanted to go all out, and then once they had the whole outfit on, he's like, this is ridiculous. And he wanted a coconut bra. I think he could have at least brought the little lei with him, but
I think the lei was appropriate. I think he had it around his shoulder this way, though. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say Mackenzie's gonna have her hands full with this one. I feel like, even we said the one episode that Bentley might be able to redo. I don't know about little Gannon here.
Gannon still has 3 years until he's 16 too.
I know. He goes to this dance with Cassandra, drops him off. His sister's in the back.
He gets all intimidated too before he gets out of the car, which I think was so cute, because at first he's like, yeah, I'm ready. This is going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. And then I love this quote. He's, holy moly, how many 6th graders are here?
It reminds me of getting dropped off for my first like parties and dances and stuff, where I'm like, where are these people?
Yeah, like these people are, they're not going.
I don't know them. Yeah, and then you see like one friend and you like book it for that one friend. It seems like Gannon had a really good time. I thought it, I kind of like seeing him. He was Mackenzie's first kid. You could definitely see a lot of Josh in this kid, so it was really hard to get past that. But he's definitely more talkative though than his dad. And I'm really glad that his dad isn't the one talking to him about this stuff, because all it would be is.
Cass has no problem asking questions. He asks them with his chest. He says things out loud. He doesn't have a problem being curious, or what's that for, or what do you guys do, or what's going on. He's just really relatable too. At the same time, it seems like he's the perfect bridge right now for all of the kids to kind of confide in and trust. So I just love Mackenzie's story right now. She so deserves to have the happiest time ever. I know she's trying to have a baby herself, but I think even right now they have a really pretty close to perfect life.
I will say I'm mad as hell at MTV for showing me those blood pictures again in the damn recap. Like, I didn't need to see that again. Why did you show me that in the very beginning of the episode? Just to make me squeamish?
I know. I thought of you.
I was like, oh my God. I had to pause it again. I was like, why did you do this to me again?
They didn't give us any update really, except for in the very beginning. He's just talking about his sugars.
Yeah, they checked on him and he was like, well, my hand's still attached, so.
I always say he reminds me of my dad, and that is totally something my dad would say. For example, one of my dad's favorite quote in responses that happens all the time is every time I say I love you, he's always like, I don't blame you. Like, he's just like sarcastic, like that's exactly what my dad would say if that happened to us.
He low-key kind of like looks like your dad.
He does. Which when he was in the hospital bed, it sent me. So I was done with the blood pictures too.
Yeah, I'm sick of that.
Onto the spicy things happening in Gannon's life.
First. Where's her other kid?
Daxie, it was floating around.
Yeah, but where's the last one?
Well, sometimes that one floats around in other states and stuff, right? With Grandpa.
I don't know. I was just curious. I don't know where Bronx was this episode, but
he was here.
That's the only place I saw him. They're chilling in the kitchen and they hear Gannon's phone go off, so Mackenzie decides to go get it. She's like, this can't be his ringtone. And then Cassandra was like, you shouldn't do that. Bless Cassandra, because you don't have children. But if I had a 13-year-old, I'm going through their phone.
I'm going through their phone. But again, I think this is a position of he doesn't have kids and he's looking at his current fiance go through someone's phone, which is a violation of privacy. And I think he's just feeling it from that perspective. Like, I don't want you looking through my phone because I don't look through your phone. But it's a whole different thing when you're the parent and this person's 13 and you pay for the phone.
And is a 13-year-old boy, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
They almost like accelerate a little bit faster. Not like growth-wise, but with actual things. Like,
yeah, they just, once they learn that it's that whole thing is open, the next day they probably know too much.
Yeah, I would be going through his browser history, making sure he didn't have no porn, anything on there, you know what I mean? When they're subjected to that, when they're that young all the time, it really does mess them up. You can grow older and have an, you know, an X addiction.
Yeah,
and
or even at best have a wildly unrealistic idea of what
it's like
intimacy is like.
For girls in general, like you'll have these crazy expectations.
Or how to pleasure a girl. It's not just like how it is in corn.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and then the whole part of consent and all of that.
And there's also weird fetishes and things like that you could stumble. There's just too many weird things to stumble upon. It's not like back in the day where guys would just get a hold of dirty magazines and that was pretty much the gist of it. Now you can get a whole 360 view of the inside of a vagina. It's crazy.
The access is right there. If you don't have the right kinds of controls on it, you can just all the time access it. Whereas, like you said, with the magazine, that was probably in your dad's room under a thing in the closet, and you could only look at it for like twice a month when they were gone, and it was terrifying. It was a whole thing.
And it's just a picture. It's not like moving. It's just like
right.
You know, so you're just looking at the same picture. And she goes through his phone. She finds some things.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of just exchanges, it sounds like, with some of his friends, and it's on the show. I'm not going to put it on blast what she says, but she says just she heard some things about what some of his friends know about and might be doing, and they're both pretty horrified to read it. He's 13, but it sounds like he's doing, honestly, what a pretty typical 13-year-old boy is doing. I'm not saying that it's great, but I think it's good that they're seeing this so that they know what they're working with. If they're tiptoeing around certain words and things like that, it's clear that he knows what these words are, so it's time to be talking about them directly.
Oh, we won't say it, but it was
I'm dead. Oh my god, it was kind of like this.
Yes, that's why I started doing it. I saw his face. I was like, I've been doing that since you started talking.
Oh man, get me out of here.
Mackenzie's a little shook. I think she was almost half expecting to find something, though, half not. I mean, he's 13, but I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, when we were all 13, you know, I remember knowing about all that stuff, people talking about it. I wasn't engaging in it. I was a little young, but yeah, I mean, she's very real for this little confessional, I will say. Yeah, I was like, this is so real. She wants to talk to him about it, and she can talk to him about it, but she knows regardless, he's 13. Teenagers are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to find a way if they truly want to do something. I think she's in the struggle of like, you just have no control.
You have none. And that's why you have to talk to them about it. The only control that you have is as their parent, those words will be in their head. They will still make the choice that they want to make, and it might be the wrong one, but at least those words will be there to potentially, possibly guide them. Otherwise, you can guarantee they won't be there, and they're going to do whatever they want without any potential guidance.
Like you said, education that Leah gives her kids and stuff like that is something Mackenzie should probably start. Because even just giving him the education about what safe sex is.
You know? Safe, starting to talk about consent and true consent, starting to talk about a lot of things.
Even like how doing this stuff can affect you in the long run.
Yeah, you know? It's time to be aware of that. Even talking about birth control, right? Not just safe X, but asking girls. At 13, I was on birth control. I think making sure he knows those things exist and asking if girls know that. Not saying they need to be on it, but it's something that when you're actually active, it's a common question. You know, are you clean? Do you have a condom? Are you on birth control? It's like, those are kind of the things before you get it on. Oh, and would you like to do this or not?
Or not.
Don't forget the consent and make sure you get a clear yes. Like those things should be basics right now, and it doesn't seem like she's there yet with him. But she's freaking out.
She is freaking out.
I would be freaking out too.
I don't blame her. He's so young. It's so weird that now these kids are this age. To me, it just makes me feel so damn old.
He's 13, right? And we're talking about a lot of these kids turning 16 this year, but I think this really is at least for me, was the age that I just started doing the worst things. By 16, I was kind of evened out, back to normal. 13, I was, actually active. I was getting tattoos at parties. I was wild, just insane. And now to see these kids on TV, little Nova and Gannon, I can't believe it.
I know.
I can't believe it that I was just out there. I thought I was a whole adult.
I think Brianna, we'll get over to her, but she had the same kind of thoughts. Yeah. I think it's time to get out our 16 and pregnant tapes and show them to these kids at this point.
Way past time. Absolutely. And the whole season, too. Girls they don't follow anymore and stuff, too, because those are the girls that have the hard stories.
Or show Janelle's even a few times, like Kaylin's, her beginning.
Every day until you're 40.
You don't want this, do you?
Oh, my gosh. I know.
Anyways, on to another 13-year-old. We see Nova turning 13 on Brianna's storyline.
Yes.
And she gets a call from Devion that he's going to be visiting for the weekend from Michigan. And she offers him a place to stay. He can spend as much time with the kids as possible.
I was a little bit concerned at first if he was actually going to stay or not, just because of the history there. I really was hopeful. It sounded like he was coming there to spend time with them, but you just never know.
You don't, but I think that since it was Nova's birthday, I was very hopeful that Devion was just really coming for just her and not to do anything else. But it seems that that's how it was. But he's excited. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna do face masks and a spa day."
I thought that was
so cute. Yeah, and I'm glad that she's that comfortable with Devion that she can do those girly things with him, because some dads don't want to do that stuff. And Devion obviously has done these things with her before, to where she's like, I can't wait to do this little spa day with him and the girls. And
even if he hasn't necessarily done those things before, she's definitely comfortable enough to sort of push him and be humorous with him and playful. And I think that is really important, especially with dads, because sometimes dads are so serious and distant. So it seems like they have a really playful relationship.
Yeah, and Stella's just as excited. That's what was cute to me too. Stella's so excited.
She loves it.
They went shopping for wigs and stuff, and Stella did say in the store she called him father, which I was more like, why don't you just call him dad? Like, what's father?
Yeah, well, I think she knows he's not dad, right? And so I wonder if she's sort of playing around with different words that are dad, because that is her dad as far as dads go. She knows that's not her dad. She knows Lewis, unfortunately, is her dad. So maybe she can call Devion father. I think she's trying to figure it out.
Play with the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Roxanne immediately is just, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Just take it in for a moment. Let the girl be a girl. Let her just talk. You don't have to make a big deal about it every time. Talk about it every single time. That's probably why she's over here calling Devion father instead of dad, because the last time she called him dad, I don't know what to say. It has to be a whole effing thing all the time with Roxanne. She's so dramatic.
Always. Wouldn't be a day with Roxanne if there wasn't the dramatics. So Devion does come through and visit. They bombard him at the door. Nobody even jumped in his arms. I thought that was so cute. And then, yes, they get his dreads all up in a knot so they can do the spa day. And I was laughing so hard during this because they have Devion and Brianna just laying there. They come in with this nail polish, and Nova's like, I got clear polish. I'm going to paint your nails. She's got pink nail polish.
I believed her.
She didn't even try.
No, he was pissed.
He looks and he's like, you didn't even do them good.
I know. You did them pink and you didn't do them good. She said, well, I'm not a nail technician. Okay, well, geez, color in the lines at least.
I know, you're the one that brought out the nail polish.
I think she's pretty pleased with herself.
Yeah, she loved it. This is the most animated I've even really seen Nova on the show. I think that she's so shy that when she's around the camera, she doesn't really let this side of her come out. But I have seen videos, like Devion used to make videos with her, and they were playful like this, usually doing like slimes and stuff like that. So it was really cute to see this little spa day happening. It looked like Stella was working on Brianna and Nova was working on Devion. And you can just tell she loves spending time with him. And he just kind of comes in. He's like a presence, but he's not like Corey when he walks in. Corey walks in, it's like, but when Devion walks in, he's just like,
hey. He's chill. He's always chill. He goes with the flow.
For sure.
I'm sleeping in the spare room, wherever.
There was one thing where he said, oh, for sure. He started busting out laughing. He was like, oh, for sure.
So they had some Chick-fil-A for dinner, and they kept their little cute stuff on, and Devon's about ready to get out of all of his stuff, and they let him know that it's wig time.
I love the way that Stella pulled out the wig, too.
I know.
Like, we're not done with you. And then she...
She's so
like, right. Was like, why me?
But he's such a good sport. I think it was so great that he spent all this time with both of them. And like Bree said, he shows up for both of them when he does show up.
And you take that beard off of Devion, he looks just like Nova in that wig. Like he
I
could have
know.
been a really pretty girl.
It's so true.
Him and Nova are just like freaking twins. And they have the little pool party for Nova's birthday. Everybody comes over. TT, Brittany comes over. Roxanne's there. And they just kept talking about Devon and him not being around, him moving to Michigan. It sounds like Devon wants to stay in Michigan for a while because earlier in the episode, Brianna asked him how he's doing out there, if he could see himself being out there long term. And he said yes. And I think that immediately made her heart sink because she wants more help.
Yeah.
And Nova's at a pivotal time in her life where she's 13. She probably needs her dad around more for guidance. I think it is very important for girls to have a relationship with their dad if it's possible. I know that for not everybody that's the case, and that like it can't always be, but if the ideal situation is to have your father around as an influence.
Totally.
Because a lot of times, like what happened with Bree when she was younger, she said, I was 13. I wanted a relationship with my dad. I couldn't have that. So I looked for it elsewhere. And that's a lot of times what people do. They'll look for that love that they don't have, whether it's from a mom or a dad or whatever, and they'll find it somewhere else.
And I think it's a lot more for Bree about influence with Nova than it is about support, because she does have the support. She does have a lot of the logistics under control with him being gone. But I think a lot of it more is that she wants him to be around for influence. And this is where I actually sort of differ a little bit. The alarm bells going off, I feel like as long as he is staying in very close contact, and I don't know if he is or isn't, so maybe he's not and there's reason, but as long as he's staying emotionally connected to Nova at this time, I think it's almost just as good. I'm not saying that it's as good as him being around, but I don't think has the same level of absence that Bree felt with her father. She knows her dad is a presence and he can maintain that every way except for physically. And if he starts to pre-plan trips like Roxanne is seeing, I think she'll know the next time she's going to see her dad all the time, and that would make a big difference as well. So
I think that's really what they're asking of him too. Really, they're not asking to move back. They just want him to be around more. I don't know how much Devion is talking with Nova, or if they have like their own personal conversations, but I do think it's important for him to. Devoin's around. He's just fun. I think maybe he needs to start having more conversations with her.
I feel like they have to be talking pretty frequently if they're this comfortable with each other after he has been gone. I feel like if they weren't talking and he wasn't a presence in her life, even if it was through the phone and FaceTime, she would not be this comfortable with him right now.
But there is only so much you can do through the phone and FaceTime.
But influence can happen outside of.
No, I agree. I do think that fathers are very important for daughters, especially at this age, because this is who teaches you how you should be treated in a relationship, especially if you're heterosexual. How your father treats you as a child is going to dictate how you accept treatment as an adult or as a teenager or when you're in relationships.
I completely agree. Yeah. But I think that can be done in a lot of ways.
It can. Like, he doesn't have to be there every day.
It's ideal for him to live nearby, but they already have that physical relationship. So if he's away in Michigan, as long as he is continuing to influence her life, I think Bree's fears are nowhere close to coming true of repeating this thing that's happened.
Yeah.
I think not even with Stella, to be honest. Like, the thing is with Bree, she was completely rejected by her father time and time and time again. I think Stella might have that experience with her own father, but Stella has another option of somebody who, at least right now, is willing to accept her. So I don't think even with Stella, it's going to be as traumatic. I'm not saying they're going to be the happiest kids ever and have no trauma, but I think with both of them, Devion, as long as he stays consistent like this and is doing more than just this on camera, I think they're going to be in really good shape, better than we all thought 10 years ago with these guys.
You're right. As long as Devion is planning, not every month or something, but maybe every other month he comes for a weekend or whatever. I think if they can keep that up, that would be great. What he does for Stella is remarkable and amazing, and he's a really, really great guy. I just think he needs a little bit better organization. I think that's really what Devion needs. It's just his organization.
And I see where Bree is worried about that, because he's always been lacking in that area of intention, motivation, organization, consistency. Those have been things, not in love or even showing up or, any of that. He's good at all of that, but this whole doing things before they need to really be done, he's not that dad yet. Maybe might not be ever. But that's why this pre-planning trips, I think, is one of the best things. Especially Nova, I think if she can know the next time she's going to see her dad every time he leaves, that's going to make a big difference.
And Stella, because that's her dad too at this point. I think he needs to be a good presence for her too. And that's a lot to put on Devion, honestly, because this is a whole house of women. He is the only man that comes in and out of this house every now and then. And it's a lot of pressure for him. I mean, he's got to be the father figure, almost the husband figure, almost the son-in-law figure, because he's got all these roles for these women. I don't think he truly realizes how much these women need him, because they really do.
And they'll never tell him that.
Oh, no, not Brianna, at least.
Yeah. Even in this scene, they all three acknowledge that together, that we have the support we need, but we can't do what he can do. But they never tell him that.
Because it's true. They have all the support in the world and everything. There's something that only your dad can do for you.
Yeah, an influence of a father or a father figure. And it can't be some Joe Schmo from yesterday. I mean, it's got to be somebody that's been around.
Yeah, a strong male figure is very important. I mean, it's very important to have strong both parents. You want a strong mother figure and a strong father figure. It's just that father figures are really what keeps you disciplined. There is studies on it, like the effect of having a good father figure. There's a lot on the positive effects of that. People say it's almost better to have a single father sometimes than a single mother. I don't know. That's just things that I've heard, but not in this situation. I don't want to put these kids with just Devion. But it's still very important to have a father figure around, or at least a male figure that you can trust. It can really mess with you down the line if you don't have that. I mean, look at Brianna. I'm glad that she's very self-aware of what she went through. I think she's doing everything she can to prevent what happened to her. And I don't think either of these girls are going to be teen moms like she was. Like you said, I think they're predispositioned for better. As long as Devion stays consistent and as long as Lewis stays the fuck away. I'm sick of him.
About all of that.
I mean, if I was Brianna, to be real, a long time ago, I would have probably cut Lewis off and just been done with him. I mean, I get what she's trying to do there. It's probably a controversial opinion, but I just think, yeah, I'm just done with him. But moving on, I am not done with is Leah and her storyline. So we're going to go over to West Virginia. We are back on this wheelchair thing. So Leah is talking with her girls. She's talking about school and everything. And they get into Allie having muscular dystrophy. I kind of chuckled at this conversation because Aaliyah is very vocal in this conversation. Like, you weren't supposed to live past 16, right?
I know. Leah started this conversation one-on-one with Allie, and Allie started cutting into her. I'm not going to go then. I'm not doing all this stuff. Basically, I'm not listening to you. And here comes Leah. She just sits herself down behind her mom. And, well, the doctor said, and and you could have died, but mom and dad listened to the rules, and now you don't want to listen to the rules, and what's going to happen to you? And rats are out for falling in the kitchen twice. And as they need to have real conversations and not let her be in denial.
And this involves Aaliyah. Aaliyah has a lot of sibling guilt. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I'm glad too that later on when the parents become in charge that they involve Aaliyah in that conversation as well, because she's part of it.
She is. I mean, it's been a part of her whole life as well. Allie just wasn't having it. She was getting cocky, talking back, which I get that. She's really hurt by this whole thing. She wants to just be like everybody else. And it makes me feel really bad for her. But it's just so funny that they were talking about Leah like she wasn't there. Like I think your mom knows better than you. She's like, well, my mom be doing this. It's just right there.
I know.
That was funny.
It's so funny because she's here using words that her mom taught her, right? You're the expert on your body. You know your body. Speak up. And then she's over here. Mom doesn't know nothing about nothing. It just shows the teenage mindset, I can have a lot of empathy for her and also still think it's hilarious that she's a teenager and she can't wrap her mind around that her mom might also know how to take care of her body best. It's funny to me. It's sad to me, but it's also funny just the way that teenagers are so damn stubborn.
It's a sad situation, but I couldn't help but laugh when Aaliyah was like, you do know you have muscular dystrophy, right? We don't think you know you have muscular.
Leah keeps calling it her denial of her muscular dystrophy, and I honestly think that is the most realistic way to describe it right now. Obviously, she's heard of the word and she's aware that she has it and everything, but the denial of what that really means for her life and how that affects her on a day-to-day basis, she is in complete denial. So
we take the road to denial over to their father's house. And Corey meets with Leah. He wanted to have a little talk with Leah first before. So they did that thing where they leave the kids in the car. They've
been doing this for 16 years. And you know what? I applaud them for this because it seems like they've been at the same damn highway side spot. They always keep the kids in the car. They always go on the whole other side of the car. They always have these tough conversations. I've seen them have some hard times in this little plot of land, but I applaud them for just keeping this up even as they're teenagers, because that's what it takes when you're not together. It takes that kind of communication.
So Corey in his cutoff shirt are talking to Leah about Allie in the wheelchair situation. The gratification I felt finally hearing Corey be like, we should have made the wheelchair more normalized. Well, whose fault is that? I mean, I don't want to point fingers here, but I just remember Corey having the biggest deal about her being in the wheelchair all the time. He wanted her to feel more normal. Leah was the one pushing for her to be in the wheelchair more. She wanted to normalize being in the wheelchair. So It's good that now Corey realizes that they both should have made that a more normal thing for her. So this way she doesn't feel like it's not normal to be in a wheelchair. But they decided, if we think that she should be in the wheelchair, then she can't make that decision. And I think that that's very smart on them, because as much as you want to give her her own autonomy, and you should over a lot of things, most things when it comes to her body, but she's also not an adult yet. Her frontal lobe, where was that? The frontal lobe wasn't formed. Who said that? What series is that from? I don't know. But the frontal lobe isn't formed.
I probably said that.
No, I think that came from like Sister Wives or something. Like,
No.
the frontal lobes aren't even formed. I forget which show.
That's starting to sound familiar a little.
Yes, thank you. I don't remember where it's from.
But yeah, I think she needs to be able to have autonomy, but she can't have autonomy right now to make decisions that could impact the rest of her life when she has this kind of high risk. Obviously, any teenager can make a decision that will impact the rest of their life, but they're not at as acute of risk every single day as she is when she's not using her wheelchair and walking. That's the only thing that they're saying. If you're not making the right decision, which we're going to let you make the right decision, but if you don't, we're going to put our foot down, and that's that. And obviously she's not very happy.
Yeah, they bring her out to talk to her about it, her and Aaliyah. And the night and day this girl has with Corey and Leah. When Corey's saying it, it's okay. And
that's not fair. That's the only sass back he got.
Yeah, and he's like, well, it's not going to be fair, but this is what we have to do. It's more important for you to be able to walk in the future than for you to be a fun teenager right now. I mean, just the smallest slip could tear her ACL is basically what Corey's worried about. She doesn't have the reflexes to catch herself a lot of the time, even though she's like, I catch myself. No, it's pretty apparent from everyone else that you don't catch yourself, and you can really hurt yourself. And then if you have an injury like that, you're not going to heal from it like Aaliyah would, or like Addie would, or one of your other siblings.
And then your quality of life is going to be reduced even more so than she thinks it is right now. I understand that she's fighting for her quality of life and they're fighting for quantity of life, but she needs to recognize that you will have to make some trade-offs when it comes to her quality of life in order to have a long, healthy life, be able to walk at all. If she tears her ACL or something like that, not only is it going to take her longer to recover, she might not recover.
She might be wheelchair bound at that point, and we don't want that. The more she uses her wheelchair, the less she will be wheelchair bound when she's older. And it's just not clicking for her because she's a teenager right now and she just wants to be like everyone else. And I totally understand that.
The frontal lobe.
The frontal lobe.
The frontal lobe is the thing that helps you to plan and organize the future, see consequences.
Yeah.
All that.
I applaud Corey for just being like, you know what? If me or your mom says you need to use the wheelchair, then you need to use the wheelchair. She wants to make her own decisions, but it's really at the discretion of them. And this is just the episode of fathers, right? Because Corey is such a present father.
Yeah.
Allie's just like, okay. Because the thing is that a lot of times with girls and their dads, you want that approval from your dad, regardless. Even whether it's deep down in there, whatever. And you can see that for Allie and Aaliyah, they really, really respect Corey. And they're going to listen to him more so than Leah, a parent where you're like,
I think they take on really traditional roles as mom and dad. Corey is kind of the disciplinarian and Leah is kind of the emotional parent who has those like deeper sort of conversations with them. So I think they do take on those kind of traditional roles, and there's benefits to that. There's definitely benefits to that.
Right person, wrong time. They co-parent so well, especially over this issue. I feel like Leah must have called Corey at one point after the football game to talk to him about all this. And
it seems like they chat pretty regularly about this kind of stuff, not just outside in the truck anymore. I'm sure they stay up to date. And I think that was the first day of school. So yeah, I'm sure they probably did chat after that.
But it's really important that they're a united front. Just like Leah said, it's important that they remain on a united front, even though they're in separate houses, because then this way it's the same in both houses. Before, I think they had a little bit more of an issue with that because Corey wasn't as keen on the wheelchair and all that stuff. He was kind of in denial himself a little bit. I think they all went through their own denial. But Leah, I just feel so bad when she cries about all this because it's got to be hard. It's got to be so difficult. She's been dealing with this for 16 years. And now she's at the hardest part of it, I think, which is like Allie is wanting to do things a lot more now than before. And now she's a teenager. So now she's got her own little, like, I know everything. I know about my body. I know what's best for me. But the truth of the matter is what the doctors say is what is right with your body right now. I mean, you have muscular dystrophy, and a lot of people have not even made it as far as Allie. So I think as long as Corey and Leah, you remain united on this, and she has the support of Corey also being the disciplinarian, like Allie just said, okay, the conversation hours before, she was like, my mom don't know nothing.
Now she was also talking to her sister at that point, so the tone probably was a little different for
right,
that
but it
reason
was a
as
lot
well.
different than
But
before.
she'll talk back to her mom. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing necessarily. I think as long as there's still some respect involved, I think it's a good thing to practice asserting yourself, practice saying no, disagreeing, again, with respect and all of that. But I need to be able to know how to debate somebody, even if it's an adult. I think they're doing great jobs as parents with challenges here.
They very much are. I just feel really bad for them, to be honest.
I know. It's so tough. Have some next time.
What's up for next time?
Next time, Mackenzie is worried that she's raising a little Josh, and we are all worried for her about that as well. So I really hope she has some conversations that are straight up with this kid now that she knows what's in his phone.
Not just Cass, but her. I do think it's important that Cass talks to him too as a man. I think it's very important for that because Josh isn't doing it, and we don't want Josh to do it. But I do think it needs to also come from her as well. Maybe she goes in and then she brings Cass.
Definitely come from her, or even if Cass is there for her own emotional support. But yeah, it definitely needs to start with her, come from her. She needs to be involved in that whole conversation. It needs to be very direct and clear, and it probably shouldn't be on TV. So I hope we don't.
Honestly, have Cass take the other two kids out, and then you sit him down and you watch 16 and Pregnant.
Yes, but then he'd see too much of Josh, and that would probably just be worse. So Nova is going to ask Tyler about his dad and if his dad would come visit. Has Nova never seen Butch? She asked Tyler something about, where is your dad? If we invited him over, do you think he would come visit? And Tyler said, I don't know. And it's
I think she must have met Butch maybe when she was little because he was at their wedding.
She doesn't remember him a lot.
Yeah, like he just might not be around as much. I have not heard about Butch in a minute, so forgot about that man.
Me too.
Other than the adoption stuff, but I didn't know.
Yeah, it has been quite a while, so I guess it makes sense if they haven't thought about him in a little bit. Gary is going to talk to Leah next episode and say some things about the past and how apparently he's going to say he wishes that he just took her and left immediately, right away. I don't know what he's referring to, but probably when all the stuff started going on with Amber.
Gary, you could have definitely did that when you saw that man changing her diaper.
I know. Well, that's the thing. He does apologize to her for that, but I don't know. It could be
for that.
No, not for that. But he apologized. He says, I just feel bad because I wish I would have just taken you right away and gotten us out of the whole situation. But no, he doesn't bring that up specifically. But
he couldn't do that anyways because Amber just would have called the police on him and then he would have went to jail for kidnapping.
I don't think she would have even called the police. I think she would have probably beaten the crap out of him until he called the police.
Someone was going to jail regardless in this story.
And then we're going to see Benny turn 16.
Did you hear too, Chick Chatters? Ryan had his baby. So
yes, baby number 5.
Baby number probably 5.
Baby number 5. I'm saying it actual.
I'm going to save our ass and say a legend. Do you know, did they say the name?
I don't think so yet. I don't know, though. They've been pretty open, so maybe I just haven't seen it.
Possibly. I bet Macy's over there babysitting right now. She wanted to be the first to babysit. Hopefully Ryan is now getting himself nipped and tucked and plucked and stuff.
Presley Sage Eliana Edwards.
What? Was that an incantation or what? Did you just say, was that a spell?
That's her name.
What was it?
Presley Sage Eliana Edwards.
Okay, sorry. All those words went together for me in that moment. So
Presley Sage Eliana. Specto Patron.
Specto Patron. It's like Cardi B's name, Belle Police.
Exactly.
Abracadabra.
All right, Chick Chatters. Thanks for sticking around, as always. And welcome to all of our new subscribers. We have a couple of new people here, so thanks for coming back and checking us out. Don't forget to share your thoughts with us, like the video, subscribe if you would like, copy the link, click share the link. All that.
Reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna, and goodbye.
That too.
Don't forget the Rihanna part.
Don't forget Rihanna.
Never.